Welcome back to JP26. This is your boy JP. And of course, this Studio 26, we got 6 storylines from the world of sports to go over. We got NFL draft talk, we got NBA playoffs, we got NHL playoffs, and we even have 100 men versus 1 gorilla. Up next.
JP26 for the studio. What's the deal? Lately to the 6 storylines we go. Keep it real. JP26 for the studio. What's the deal? Lately to the 6 storylines we go. Hey JP. Gorillas are considered the second ugliest animal on the planet. But only because you're by far the first.
Storyline number 6 for today is Aaron Judge. Yes, last week I brought up the Mets and Yankees, so it's kind of a repeat story from baseball, but not really. See, last week I was talking about how both teams being really good was great for New York and therefore great for baseball. But I wanted to highlight this fucking guy right here. For those of you who don't follow baseball on the regular, what this guy is doing with the bat is unbelievable.
He's good.
He's the most dangerous hitter I've seen since Barry Bonds.
What did he say?
That's pretty wild. We're talking about a guy who is in contention for being the greatest right-handed bat of all time.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
Throughout baseball, offense has been a little sluggish. We've had some pretty high-scoring games here and there, but for the most part, you just look at the MLB average for hitters, it's below 240.
My God, what is that smell?
That's not great. And the MLB is constantly looking for ways to improve the offense because guess what? That's what we all love to see, right? What this guy's doing at the plate right now is truly unbelievable. If you guys don't know, here's your notice. Go check out Aaron Judge. Go see the things he's doing. He is unbelievable. He is one of those guys who's going to go down as a Hall of Famer, as one of the greats all time in baseball. And in my personal opinion, I think he might go down as the best right-handed bat of all time. That's my storyline. Storyline number 6. Off to storyline number 5. Oh, that's right. We got to talk about it. You heard it in the intro. 100 men versus 1 gorilla. This conversation has taken the internet by storm, and I need to get my 2 pieces in here. In fact, I can give this fucking gorilla a 2-piece. You know what I'm saying?
Shut up, bitch.
You're here to tell me that we, 100 human beings, we can pick any 100 human beings we want? And you don't think we could take out this fucking gorilla? What, did Planet of the Apes fucking break your guys' brains? We're taking out that fucking gorilla. And I'm going to go a little further than that. You give me and 99 Dagestanis, and we're going to rip that motherfucker apart. Personally, I would love to participate too. If me and 99 Dagestanis were all fighting this gorilla, I would love to be the one in that fight. But unfortunately, somebody's got to hold the camera, and that's going to be me. All right? Everybody has a job. I want to fight. I can't.
Why the fuck you lying?
And you might be asking yourself, JP, what happens if this gorilla rips apart 99 Dagestanis in front of you and then looks over at you?
Oh, I don't think I'm a lot dumber than you thought that I thought I was once.
Well, that's what you're asking yourself, right? Well, number 1, that wouldn't happen. All right? If you think that would happen, you don't know Dagestanis very well. Okay? But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the gorilla did do that. And then he looked over at me. Well, it just so happens I got a different strategy than y'all. You'd be like, JP, what you gonna do? You gonna beat his ass?
Nah, man, I'm cool. I'ma stay home, dog. Chill with my monkey. You know how long it took me to train this monkey to suck my dick without peeling it?
Ian Garry takes out Carlos Prates, and it was an impressive performance. Now, we're going to come back to that because that's really the storyline for today. But quick shout out, that kid Wellmaker knocked out Cameron Simon. Keep my eye on this one. That kid hit him with a nasty right hook, and he looks like he's got a lot of potential. He's got some swagger to him. Seems like he's got that star potential to him. So we're going to keep our eye on Wellmaker moving forward. Just wanted to shout that guy out. That was one performance that stood out to me before the main event. So shout out to you, Wellmaker. But back to the main event. Ian Garry pieced up Carlos Prates for 3 rounds. That's what happened. Anytime they would engage, Ian Garry was too fast for him. He was in and out. His movements were crisp. He was doing really well with his feints to set up the next shot. Basically, what he was doing is feinting different angles and sort of throwing it out there as if he was going to be hitting you with these strikes from these different angles. And then the last one would come in from a completely different angle. And he did it time and time again. It was very advanced striking. It was very impressive. Now, having said that, he spent a lot of time moving around the octagon, and Carlos Prates controlled the center. So a lot of times when that happens, you got one guy running in a circle the whole time, and then you got another guy stepping in smaller circles. So naturally, the guy making bigger circles is going to get tired first.
Figure that out on your own, genius.
And that's pretty much what happened. At the end of the fight, as much cigarettes as Carlos Prates smokes, he looked like the fresher guy.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
And he hurt Ian Garry there in the 4th round and in the 5th round, so much so that Ian Garry really had to just start wrestling the shit out of him, because Carlos Prates was backing him up against the cage, looking to land that one bomb, and if any one of those connect, that could be good night Irene for Ian Garry. That's the kind of power this dude Carlos Prates has. So let's not take anything away from Carlos Prates. It's going to slow down the hype a little bit, but the reality is he looked dangerous the whole time, and I think he's going to be a problem for a lot of guys. After Ian Garry's win, he gets on the mic and says that he is now officially the backup for the fight that's going to go on between Bilal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena here in a few weeks, which a lot of us thought he was just putting that out into the ether, trying to get to be the backup, but it turns out the UFC confirmed it, and he is legitimately the backup. And you guys know how this goes. If you serve in as a backup to a championship fight, that's usually going to put you in line for a title shot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, whether that slots him above Joaquin Buckley, whether that slots him above Shavkat, I don't really know. I don't understand that many dimensions of how all this is going to work. Maybe it goes Bilal and JDM, and then the winner fights Shavkat, and then the winner fights the winner between Garry and Buckley. I don't know. There's a lot that goes down between now and then, but I do know that as soon as you become the backup for a title shot, you're pretty much guaranteed to get that title shot at a certain point. So it looks like Ian Garry will be fighting for the title soon enough, and it was very impressive. And again, I was impressed by Carlos Prates, so don't want to take anything away from him. But the reality is, this is Ian's moment. He's gotten a lot of hate. In fact, he's still getting hate for how that fight transpired at the end of the fight. But he won the fight. That's the reality. They scored it for him, and anybody with a brain that was watching that fight knows he won the decision. Just because of the lack of output from Carlos Prates in those first 3 rounds, as dangerous as he did look in the last 2 rounds, 3-2. That's how that goes. So that is my story. Ian Garry, congratulations on your big win, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the next one.
Speak for yourself, moron.
Storyline number 3, the Stanley Cup playoffs. And not only the Stanley Cup playoffs, but something specifically I wanted to highlight. So as you guys can see in front of you, I have it broken down for the Eastern Conference on the right side, Western Conference on the left side. On the right side, we got every single series, as of the time of recording this episode, 3-1. On the left side, every series has touched 2-2.
What do you mean by that?
On the Western Conference side of things, we can see that every single series is either 2-2 or 3-2. And if it wasn't for Dallas just beating the Avalanche like a drum in their last game, they would still be a 2-2 series. So every series on the Western Conference has hit 2-2. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, JP, didn't you just talk to us last week about how round 1 of the NHL playoffs can irritate you because all of these teams are divisional and
You dick!
Yeah, well, you know what? Fuck you. I'm enjoying it. All right? I said it. But I still want it to change.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad!
As far as the Eastern Conference goes, as I was mentioning, every team's basically up 3-1. So it looks to be the case that Carolina, Washington, Florida, and Toronto will probably fairly easily move on now that every single one of them is up 3-1. So we're going to pay a little less attention to that, and we're going to focus a little bit more attention on this Western Conference that seems to be stacked all throughout. So there you go. That's my storyline.
I guess that's what I'm saying, Brooksy. You get that through your head?
I guess so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a waste of time.
Oh, then get the fuck out of here then.
I am.
Okay, see ya. Next question.
Now, granted, there's been a couple stinkers out there. A couple games that were pretty much over after the first quarter. Looking at you, Miami.
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
But outside of those few games where teams are getting blown out, we've had a lot of games come down right to the wire. And even though these Houston Rockets are down 3-1 versus these Golden State Warriors, that series is electric. And even though the Houston Rockets are down 3-1 versus the Golden State Warriors, I could still easily see that series going 7 games. That's how competitive all these games have been between them. They are very balanced. Both teams, they're very good at picking at each other's weaknesses, and it's making for awesome games. I could easily see the Rockets winning the next 3 games and taking out the Warriors.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I could easily see the Warriors blowing out the Rockets in the next game. I have no idea what's going to happen in this series, but I wanted to specifically highlight the greatness of this man right here, Steph Curry.
Talking about pimping, been since pimping, since been pimping, since been pimping.
Shaq made a point a number of weeks ago that everybody sit here and talks about the greatest player of all time debate as if it's just Michael Jordan, just LeBron, and just Kobe in this conversation. And many people think that it's just LeBron and just Michael Jordan. Well, I'm here to tell you, I don't think that that's true. I think that you can make an argument for a lot of different players. I think that there is no clear-cut number one. And you'll have Michael Jordan fans be upset about that because they think he's clearly number one. You're going to have LeBron fans be upset about that because they think he's clearly number one.
You fucking crazy, man. You sound insane. Do you realize that? You should be medicated.
But I want to throw this dude's name into that conversation. I really do. And you can say whatever you want about it, but here's one thing that I know about Michael Jordan and one thing that I know about LeBron for sure. As great a players as they were and are for LeBron, neither one of them changed how the game of basketball was played. This dude changed the way basketball was played.
Erroneous! Erroneous!
Because he was so good. In fact, not only did he change the way basketball was played, everybody has now somewhat copied that style of these three-point shots, and still nobody is as great as him as it. They still can't compete with him at how great he is at doing that.
What does that have to do with it?
No. He's got a point.
That's my storyline for today. Salute to you, Steph Curry. You're the fucking man. I want to give, athletes their flowers while they're still with us, playing actively in their career. And he is certainly that. And he is still playing not only the game of basketball, but he's playing it at a very high level. So shout out to Steph Curry. Shout out to the NBA playoffs. It's been awesome.
Yeah. Smack it up, flip it, rub it down. Oh.
Storyline number 1. Finally, it is here. Storyline number 1, and of course, it is the NFL draft. The winners and losers. I gave everybody a grade for their first round.
You think you're Mac?
Macaroni.
Now, I covered too many sports to go through all these teams' draft picks. Apologies in advance. But I can go through round 1. Okay? So I'm going to go through round 1. The grades that I gave out, they're basically meaningless. Nobody's going to even give a shit about this in 3 years when we really find out the real grade. But we all kind of care about it right now for some reason. So, let's dive right in.
Oh, shit.
This is some good shit. Why can't we be out in the open? Why aren't we in a square right now? Why aren't we talking to people, letting them know Item 9 exists? Get it out. Shout at the rooftops. This is great. This is the bee's knees, Item 9.
Now keep in mind, just because you made the right pick doesn't mean that you're getting an A+ grade.
That just makes no fucking sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
A lot of times you're going to be a victim of circumstance. If the guy that would have been perfect for you didn't fall to you, or you didn't move up to go get that guy, or whatever the case is, in my opinion, that's going to affect the decision. So part of the Titans' problem is that they are drafting a number 1 overall quarterback who isn't the clear number 1 overall best player in the draft. In fact, most people would agree that that title would belong to Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter.
What in the hell's diversity?
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
So it's hard for me to give the Titans an A for their grade because they are picking a player that has huge bust potential. Now, all cards on the table, the guy could turn out to be the best quarterback in the league. We don't know, right? There's a lot between now and when we find that out that could happen. But we still got to make our grades now. And that could mean that I end up being wrong. So be it.
I did not see that coming!
And I'm not going to be talking about every single grade that I just showed you. But I do want to talk about a few of them that, maybe people would have questions about. So we talked about Cam Ward. Let's talk about why the Jaguars only got a B+ for me. They had to give up quite a bit to go get that. Now they're going to form a dynamic combo out there in Jacksonville. So don't get it twisted. With Travis Hunter on one side and BTJ on the other side, that's a nightmare for any defense. So I completely understand why they did it, which is why I gave them a B+. But on the other hand, they did give up a lot for him. So hopefully for the Jaguars, this is going to work out moving forward. Hopefully that trade will give them the superstar that they need to kind of put that offense over the top.
Okay, now let's try to get an answer from someone who's not a complete retard.
The Giants picking Abdul Carter for me was amazing. They have a stacked defensive line, and they said, hey, instead of reaching for a position of need, let's go add to something that every team could always use. Bona fide pass rushers. So they already have that stacked defensive line, and then they add this freak show Abdul Carter to it. They're going to cause massive problems for teams' offensive lines because of the amount of talent that's going to be on that defensive line. And if you know New York Giants football, the Super Bowls that they win, what do they have in common? Come on, say it with me now.
You need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats.
Will Campbell, love the pick for the Patriots. I may have gone a different direction, but you're going to give a left tackle to a young quarterback, a highly touted left tackle to a young quarterback. I can't hate on the decision.
I bet I do. Okay. Chris?
Mason Graham, I thought the Browns missed a little bit of an opportunity to take a bona fide superstar like Travis Hunter. But at the same time, this team is devoid of a lot of talent because of the amount of money that both Deshaun Watson and Myles Garrett now take up on their roster. So getting extra draft picks, moving that forward to the future, I can definitely understand it. I don't think anybody who watches football thought that the Browns were going to be very competitive this year to begin with. So building this team for the future to surround Myles Garrett with that talent that he's going to need to win games moving forward, and they are going to need to win games moving forward. I thought it was a good idea. So they also get a B+ from me for that trade with the Jaguars. I thought Travis Hunter was the player with the most superstar potential. I still think that he is a much better prospect than Mason Graham, albeit Mason Graham is awesome, but Travis Hunter is a different level. But if you're going to add that much talent and give yourself that much arsenal for a team that needs it, it makes sense to me.
What do you think?
Nice. Jesus. That is really super. How did a nitwit like you get so tasteful?
And then last one here, and I may end up looking like a fucking idiot when it's all said and done for saying this, but I thought that the Bears should have taken Tyler Warren. I think that they still got a great player in Loveland. I think that Loveland is going to be a stud for them. I think that he's going to do a lot of great things for that offense. He's probably going to catch a lot of touchdowns in the red zone. He's going to be a big matchup problem in the end zone for people. So I understand why they did it. Get your quarterback another target that can get open in the red zone instead of being stuffed settling for field goals. But on the other hand, I just think that there is only so many guys as athletic as Tyler Warren at 6'6", 265 pounds. I think that essentially adds another offensive lineman with more blocking technique to that guy. He is going to be an absolute road grader, and he can also do a lot of damage with run after the catch. So very George Kittle, Rob Gronkowski-esque mold. It doesn't mean he'll turn out to be that player, but he certainly has the tools for it. So I may end up being wrong on this in the future, but I gave the Bears a B-, not because it isn't a good pick. It is a good pick. I just thought that there was a better pick sitting right in front of them, and that ended up being Tyler Warren for me, who fell to the Colts. And because the Colts drafted him 4 picks later, a guy that I don't think they should have ever had the opportunity to get their hands on, I give the Colts an A+ for that selection. Now, having said that, there are rumors going around that a lot of teams were trying to trade up, and apparently the guy they were going to get was Loveland, because after Loveland got selected, those calls stopped coming. So maybe I'm in the minority here in the NFL and thought that Warren was the better tight end. I think a lot of us thought that. Maybe the NFL, and the NFL GMs didn't quite think that, but that is my opinion on it. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on it. Shedeur Sanders going in the 5th round. So that is it for this week's episode. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I truly appreciate it. Remember, I only put out high quality content for you guys. There will be one episode every week every Wednesday that you guys will receive from me. So make sure you tune in to JP26 on Wednesdays. That is when I have the video ready for you guys.
What? Were you saying something? Look, I don't speak Spanish.
We gotta make this basket. You know, we gotta make this basket. We've had a run of bad luck here on this basket, and we're gonna fix it today. All right? We're fixing this shit today. I love you guys. Yeah.
I owe you an apology. I wasn't really familiar with your game.
And if you haven't done it by now in this episode, make absolutely sure you like and subscribe. Once again, it's like and subscribe. And I've tested this a couple times, so I know that's where the like was and where the subscribe was. I know it is. Okay? So you make sure you find out where it is as well and go ahead and